short paddock and up towards the ridge.
Hello everybody, Suffolk Andy here in the brand new bus station in Ipswich. It's fantastic. Look at it. Can't believe it's been done. Exactly the same as the one we had, but £1.5 million less, but in the coffers. But there you go. Just make me way back to my little dwelling. Just done a wee run around for my holiday tomorrow. Off to Scotland. Hey, one of my subscribers did say to me, Andy, bring your thermals. It's frigging cold. So I don't think I'll take any thermal underwear, but I think I'll take a big old coat and gloves and that and all that sort of stuff, you know. So get through here, I want to get across there. Hey, isn't that lovely on a bike when you can deal with all these frigging cars? Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. I'm not looking forward to 13 hours on a frigging coach show. About 13 hours. Means I've got to put up with Mrs. P for 13 hours. Poor old girl. Nah, she'll be alright. She'll make me nice loads of sandwiches and stuff and look after me. Good old girl. But anyway, I thought, being as I'm going off to Scotland, I'm going to tell you a little story. The first time I ever went to Scotland. Well, this was about 15 years ago, not even that, I think about 12, 15 years ago, something like that. And as I mentioned the other day, I used to be a professional photographer, working on magazines and stuff and all the nice hard things in life, you know. And so I thought, I'm going to Scotland, I'll take my camera, I'm going to get some nice pictures of scenery and stuff like that, you know. So that's what I did. And that was when digital first came in. Well, the firm I worked for just supplied me with a brand new Canon digital professional camera, which is a beautiful thing. You know, pretty shit today, but at that time, God man, that was top of the range, you know. I was pleased as punch with that. Oh, I love this. This is the other 1.5 million they spent taking out a roundabout here and putting these traffic lights in. So that's what, 3 million just in 2 bloody cock-ups. But anyway, yeah, so I took my camera. I think in them days they were only about 5,000 pixels, but that was still bloody good. Well, anyway, we went to this big old hotel, and down the road from this hotel was this old church, very old church. And before I get into this too much, I just want to say that I know there's a lot of skeptics out there about these ghosties and things, but what I'm telling you now is absolutely true. It happened to me, and I can't find a reason why. But anyway, let's go on with the story. This old church down the road, and we had a free afternoon. And in Scotland, you know, at this time of year it gets dark very early. You know, 3:30, mate, the light is going. So I said to an old couple who were with me, let's go down. I'm going to go down to the church. And they said, oh, we'll come with you, Andy. You know, it's only sort of quarter of a mile down this little lane. So off we sat and went down to this church. Well, this church was a funny looking place. It was had the weirdest architecture I'd ever seen. It was like it was a bit Gothic and a bit Germanic. It was very strange. It wasn't that old a church. I think it was only about 150 years. Some guy had built it because he loved God so much and all this sort of stuff. And so we got this church, and it was getting a little bit dark. And when we got to the church, we went in, and that was a really creepy little place because it was dark and whatever. And there was a couple of tombs in there of people who had died and been buried in there and whatever. And the two old couple with me were all sort of scouting around. Anyway, I was taking some pictures with the digital camera, and I got in there, and I reckon after about 3 or 4 shots, my batteries went. I thought, that's strange, I had brand new batteries, so I just put them in before I went up there. Luckily enough, I had another set. You know, being professional, I had to carry several. So stuck them in. Anyway, took a few more photos, and what I was doing, I was just going around and I was just clicking away, you know. And at the back of this church was a little room with a tomb in it. And I thought, oh, I'll have a look in there, you know. So I went over to this little door that went into this little room. It couldn't have been no more than, I don't know, 30 foot by 30 foot with this bloody tomb in it. And I stuck my hand through the door with the camera in my hand and flashed. Dum, it was dark. Anyway, as you know, you look at your little picture on your screen, and I looked at it and I thought, what the hell? There was a man sitting in the corner, and there was like a little ledge in there, and this guy was sitting there in this old dress and stuff, really strange dress, old Scottish stuff or whatever. And I thought, fucking hell. So I looked up again, and he wasn't there. I thought, well, he can't go anywhere, there's only bloody one entrance, and I only took about a second, you know, to look at the screen. So I thought, bloody hell. Anyway, one of the old gal who was with me came over, she went to go in, I said, don't go in there, there's a bloke in there. And that was quite dark, and she got a little torch out, and she shone it around, nobody in there. So I said to her, I said, well, I've got him, because I've got him on the camera, on the digital camera. It's got to be there, you know. I see him sitting there in the corner. So anyway, we went outside, looked at the camera, and my card had been completely wiped of everything I'd done. And the batteries were friggin' flat again. I was shocked. Trust me, absolutely shocked. And from that day on, I've tried to work out why I see this guy sitting there. I definitely see it on the screen. Why would my camera, which was a top of the range camera, it weren't a, you know, in them days, a £50 camera, we're talking probably in them days, oh, I don't know, £3,000, something like that, 2,500, a lot of money when they first come out. Why would that card be wiped? And the trouble is, I'd been taking photographs, you know, earlier in the day with no problem at all. I lost all those. And the next day, well, that night I used it again, and it worked absolutely fine. So that's my little ghosty story. I know some people will say, oh, this and that and the other, but you know, I thought I'd tell you that story because I went out to Borley Rectory, you know, and I never see any ghosts out there, and that's the third time I'd been out there in the last 5 or 6 years, and I've never seen anything. But that is my little ghosty story of Scotland. So go this way, I think. I haven't got long today because I've got to get ready. Been up the bank and done all them things you have to do, you know. We go on holiday, and I suppose Mrs. P will want me to start filling a friggin' suitcase later. So, oh shit. Have patience, Andy. Have patience. You were a learner once yourself. Well, there's another thing after the ghosties. I watched the 2 old boys from America with this polar bear challenge, you know, and it was quite hilarious, really, because the 2 old boys are sort of winding themselves up a bit over, you know, who's going to win, you know. And I found it quite funny, lads. If you watch this, I found it quite funny. I think there's quite a rivalry between you 2 old boys. It's at Old Navy or something, he's a name, the old boy, trying to work out the Garmin. He's been at it for a while, but I tell you what, you've got some persistence, mate. You really have. I think I'd have given up a long while ago. But yeah, so that's quite funny. Quite enjoyed that. Oh, and I've got to say an apology to Brit Ninja 88. Sorry, mate, I left the 88 off. Not bad for an old fart, though, mate, you know. Oh, we're going under the oil bridge again, look. That's definitely going to be speed limited. The end of the year. And I'll tell you what, you talk about politicians. They had a poll in the local paper, the local shit fucking rag paper, the Star. It's absolutely useless piece of fucking toilet wipe and shitty paper. But anyway, they had a poll in there, and it was like, vote for 70 mile an hour, 60 mile an hour, or 50 mile an hour. Well, in a democracy, that's usually first past the post, I always thought. Anyway, somebody got some money over there, look at that. Anyway, so I've done this poll, and they ran it for a couple of days, And this morning, they said speed cameras won. I thought, bloody hell, I wouldn't have thought that, you know. People don't want to be held up no more than they are up there. But what it was quite close. But the majority of people wanted to keep it at 70. So what they done, the people who wanted it at 60 and 50, they put them both together and said they'd won. Fucking hell, man, that's fucking democracy, isn't it? Unbelievable. So that just shows you, and this was a politician was doing this in there, some safety friggin' knob who runs our roads, who couldn't fucking organise a piss up in a fucking brewery. Anyway, this knob said, oh, speed cameras, they've won, the poll just shows it, and we'll be using this to show the authorities that's what people want. But they didn't. The majority of the people didn't want speed cameras, and he just added up the bottom load and put them together and said, well, that's more. So that just shows you that you can't trust friggin' politicians. Anyway, that's enough. That's enough. I will see you all in about 6 days' time, hopefully. So I'm taking me little camera with me. I wouldn't have thought there'd been a lot to film, but if there's something silly I can see or anything like that, a bit amusing, you know. I know yesterday I had one of my American subscribers say to me that he envied me going to Scotland. All these boys from America seem to want to go to Scotland and look at the castles and that. Mate, you'd freeze your nuts off. But anyway, that's all from me for a few days. I will be watching your vids on my tablet. Won't be able to do any myself. But Mrs. P's got me all to herself. So you never know, boys. She's too sprung to have any more than them bloody kids, so well, I'm fine on that one. So you never know, my luck might change. I'm definitely going to have a load of beer. I'm going to do a bit of sightseeing, and I'll see all you boys and girls when I get back in about 6-7 days' time. That's all from me in an improving Suffolk Andy.